Hello YouTube, my name is Brian Mounts. I run turfmechanic.com and the Turf Mechanic YouTube channel. Today in this video we're going to discuss zero cost lawn repair. Is it possible and how to do it? If you've got a really bad lawn already, then you probably already have one or two or three of some of the most common problems with lawns. You probably have patchy spots where there's just a bunch of dirt showing. You might have some kind of invasive weeds that grow and spread and then die, and they turn brown. They just choke out all of the grass. You might have hills that are just hard to grow grass on. You may also have dogs that do damage to entire areas of your lawn, or just make brown spots right in the middle of your grass when they pee every morning. You might even have patches of really good grass. Unfortunately, they're sitting right next to weeds that are invading and making it hard for the grass to stay thick over a larger section. If you want to fix any of these problems or all of these problems, there are ways to do it, to go about it without spending any money. It will take a little bit of elbow grease, and you're not going to get all the way there, but I guarantee you, if you put in the effort, it will get better. The vast majority of problems in someone's lawn can be solved mostly over a period of time by doing three main things over and over and over religiously. The first and most important thing that you need to do to repair a lawn over the long term without spending any money at all is to water the grass very, very deeply, religiously. I'm talking every 4 days, put down at least half an inch of water on the lawn. And then don't put any water down for another 4 days, then do it again, and then water it again, and then water it again. Every 4 days, put down half an inch of water. This is not saying that you should put down 20 minutes of water. You shouldn't turn the sprinkler on for 10 minutes every couple days. Every 4 days, you should water for an entire half inch. That doesn't matter if it takes you 30 minutes to do it or 4 hours to do it. Every sprinkler system is different. You need to measure how much water goes down onto your grass when you turn the sprinkler on. You need to measure how long it takes for those sprinklers to put half an inch of water down. Most people underwater because they underestimate how much water is actually going onto the grass. The whole point of putting half an inch of water down, as opposed to just say watering it every couple days for 20 minutes, is enough water gets onto the ground that it will go through the grass, onto the surface of the dirt, and then it will go into the soil down deep enough for the roots to grow deeper. And as the roots grow deeper in the grass, then the grass will be healthier, even when it doesn't get water for a few days at a time. The second main reason that grass will not thrive is if you're not cutting it correctly. Now, you've got a lawnmower, it doesn't matter which one it is, honestly. And whether you walk this way or that way or this way or that way, that doesn't really matter that much either. What I mean when I say you've got to be cutting the grass correctly is you need to be cutting the grass more frequently. Most people don't want to cut their grass more than once a week. I would venture to say a lot of people don't cut their grass more often than every 10 days. If you could commit to cutting your grass 2 times every single week, regardless of the fact that the grass is tall, maybe your wife or your husband is saying the grass doesn't need to be cut, it's not that tall. The point is, if you can cut it before you think, wow, it's tall, then you're going to be doing a favor to your grass. It will grow better. If you look in the instruction manual of any lawnmower on the market today, every single manual that I have ever seen tells you that you should not cut more than a third of the grass blade off at any one time. That means if your grass is 6 inches tall, which is quite tall, you can't cut it, or you shouldn't cut it down below 4 inches, which is still quite tall. Point being, if you have grass that is a regular length, somewhere between 2 and 4 inches in height, you really shouldn't be cutting off more than about ½ an inch, maybe 2/3 of an inch on the low end to a full inch on the high end. That means that the grass can't grow more than that much over the course of a week. If you can get out there and cut every 3 or 4 days and just average 2 cuts every week, your grass will be much healthier, much stronger, and much more capable of crowding out the weeds and spreading. Most grass types want to spread, but they'll only spread if they are healthy. The third and potentially most important reason why grass doesn't grow well and a yard looks terrible is because of weed invasion. Now, there are tons of different kinds of weeds. There are broadleaf weeds. There are kind of grassy weeds that just kind of look like grass, but it's not. There are thistles. There are creeping, kind of viney ivies. I don't even know what the category would be called. Point being, there are lots and lots of different kinds of weeds that can be in a yard. And most weeds, certainly not all, but most weeds are annuals. That means the weed grows up, it flowers, it seeds, it spreads its seed, then it dies, and then the seed turns into a new weed on the next season. Some of these weeds are biennials. Dandelions, for instance, although their root systems can stay in the ground, so it's not exactly a biennial, but they will flower quite a bit in the spring and then quite a bit in the fall while taking the summer off. Dandelions are, I don't know, my kids love them and they hate it when I'm pulling them out of the ground, but the point is, it's a great illustration. As the flower comes up, sure, you could go out and purchase product, chemicals, and spray the dandelions to kill them. You could spray any kind of weed to kill them, and they will shrivel up and die. But that requires money, and it requires chemical applications. It requires equipment that you may not already own in your garage. If you really want to do this without spending any money, sure, you could go out there and pull weeds by, with hand tools, just digging them out of the ground, pulling on them, trying to get them at the root. And yeah, that works, but it's an awful lot of work. What I recommend, which is slightly less labor intensive, but still works fair, is just go out and pull the seed heads off every weed that you see just before you mow. Now, every weed that you see, there could be thousands of them out there. Just use your judgment. Take an assessment of how much time you have to commit to this before you go and mow. Comb the yard, and if you see any flower heads, any seed heads that are coming up, pick them, just pluck them right off with a hand. Use a glove, and then put them straight into the trash. That way, when you take the lawnmower over the space, you'll cut the weed back, you'll strengthen the grass, but the seed head won't be there anymore to reseed. Now, this is not a perfect fix. The weed will still be there, and you could take the time to go and pull every one by hand, but that's a lot of work, and most people don't have the time to do that. But without spending money, that really is your best option. Now, having said all of that, regular subscribers to this YouTube channel know that I've got a pretty nice yard. I run a whole website all about yard care, lawn tools, gardening, and other things that are related. But as you see way up there behind the kids' playhouse on the hill, that used to be wild brush 1 year ago. It looked a lot like this. About a year ago, my wife and I decided that it would be to try to reclaim that space and expand our yard. So at this point, I haven't done anything to that yard up there other than mow it, water it, and that's it. I've pulled weeds. As weeds pull up before I mow, I pull out big seed heads whenever I have the time to do it. And over the next 12 months, the plan is to take that hill space and turn it into a yard that is very similar to this one. Now, I can't guarantee that I'm going to transform this yard space into something that looks more like this without spending any money. Quite honestly, I probably am going to spend some money. In the fall, I'll be doing some preventative measures, putting down some pre-emergence. I'll also be doing some overseeding because most of the grass that's up here, not the weeds, most of the grass that's up here is field grass varieties because this is a natural hillside. I will be spending some money. We will be doing a little bit of demo to this thing that's supposed to be a shed, and so that's going to cause us to dig into the ground a bit. But anyway, I do hope that you will subscribe, follow along, and watch me transform this hill into a proper yard. Thanks for watching the Turf Mechanic YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Thanks.